Welcome to the Project Endure podcast, the place where we talk about life, endurance, persistence, perspective, and so much more. I'm Joe Rinaldi, and I'll be your host. Let's jump in. Before we get started, let me share a quote with you. The great Les Brown once said, "You can't see the picture when you're in the frame." If you've felt stuck in your fitness, mindset, or life as a whole, head down to the link in the show notes and reach out to learn more about Project Endure coaching so that we can help you step outside of the frame and bridge the gap between who you are now and who you want to be. We can't wait to hear from you. Now, let's get to the episode. Welcome back to the Project Endure podcast. This is a bonus episode, and we have me, myself, and I, Joe Rinaldi. I am going to be breaking down the first ever Project Endure retreat, which took place this past weekend, October 10th through October 12th, down in Brigantine, New Jersey at the beach. I want to record this episode for the most part as a way to document how I felt, how I saw this unfold, what I feel. And I hope that it could serve as a spark for someone else to go chase that thing, to go make yourself uncomfortable, to go document your own life, to go take action toward what you want. With that being said, I don't know what I'm going to say. I am keeping this raw and real, and I'll see how it unfolds. So this episode might be 10 minutes. It might be 40 minutes. It might be way longer, way shorter. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I want to start, though, with a voice note that I recorded back in 2019. And the reason I want to share this is because this past weekend, driving back from the retreat, I recorded another voice note, and it felt like a full circle moment. In the car, as I was driving back from the retreat, I couldn't help but think back to 2019 when I was driving from where I worked, which was a physical therapy clinic, to where I was living, which at the time was in Westfield, New Jersey with my parents. I recorded this message. I felt called to just speak and document, and I was frustrated that I wasn't where I wanted to be, in the sense that I wasn't on a path that felt like it would take me toward a unique, authentic impact on the world. I wanted to be doing more. I wanted to be doing different. I wanted to create something of my own. And I expressed that frustration and other emotions into this voice note while driving in the car in the rain from one place to another. And this past weekend in 2025, I was driving from one place to another, which was my new home in Philadelphia with my wife and our dog, also in the rain, that it struck me. I had taken those frustrations from that car ride in 2019, and through a series of steps and messy action, I got to a place this past weekend that was exactly what I wanted. It was the thing that I had dreamed about 6 years prior. And I felt really proud, very full in that moment. And I wanted to document that out loud here, because it's so important not to hold those things inside. It's so important not to just let deep feelings and frustrations float off into the ether. It's important or to push them down, deep down, and let them boil and stew. It's important to take those things and to take action, to control the controllables and to make change. And I am so proud of Joe from 6 years ago for starting that process. And that led to me quitting a stable job, starting Project Endure, in 2021. And if I'm being honest, I had no idea what I was doing and I didn't have much of a vision. I just knew I wanted to be doing something that was meaningful. And this past weekend was that in the biggest way. So, to bring it back, I wanted to create this retreat as a complement to the annual event that happens in the spring. We have put on 4 annual Project Endure events in the spring of each of the past 4 years. This most recent year was our biggest yet. We have hundreds of people come from all over the United States and other countries to celebrate, to connect, to do hard things, to make memories, to have a great experience. And the goal is to have people leave better than they came. This retreat is a complement to that. It happened in the fall. It is much more intimate. We had 12 people, and I'll get to that here in a little bit, in one space for a longer time. And we went so much deeper. It was so impactful. I will remember this weekend forever. We started planning this. And when I say we, I mean I started planning this months ago. And it was one of those things where I decided to take action before I felt ready. I sold all the tickets before I had made any plans. And I decided I would figure it out as time ticked down and we got closer. I planned the details. I made sure that the arrangements were there, that logistics worked before I sold the tickets. But the smaller details, the activities, the flow of it all, I figured that out as I got along the path, not before I started the path. And so I'm not even sure where the best place to begin is, but I guess I'll start on the day of. So Friday, October 10th, I see a few clients in the morning. I drive down to Brigantine, about an hour, hour and a half from Philadelphia. Stop at the store to pick up a bunch of food for the weekend. And I get a text on the way from the person who is there to help me, Mike Zacco. Mike Zacco has been a podcast guest. He's been a client. He has been and still is an incredible friend. Mike was the right hand man for this weekend. And Mike got a flat tire. Of course, he's going to be a little bit late. And that was the first of many speed bumps, hurdles, obstacles, adversities. But we just pivoted. We made adjustments and it was all good. But I get to the house a few hours before the retreat attendees would get there, which was noon on Friday. And, got the house set up. I stocked the fridge, made sure all the rooms had the appropriate items. We gifted all of the attendees a Project Endure duffel bag with a number of Project Endure articles of clothing that are unique to this event that no one else has because there are only 12 sets that exist. And shout out to my client, Jason, who designed and created all of the items. It's so cool to look back at the pictures and see everybody wearing these things that only they get to have. And it's one of the many common threads and ties throughout the weekend is that these people had a unique experience that only they get to have. I can describe this as much as I want or I can, but unless you were there, you won't understand the depth and the weight and the impact of this weekend. So from there, everyone starts to arrive around noon. There's a bit of awkwardness at the beginning, of course, for the first few minutes as people try to get to know each other, make conversation, get settled in. And we sat down and ate lunch together as a group and asked a few questions. One of which was, what's one of your quirks or one of the quirkiest things that you do? I led off by sharing that I suck the toothpaste out of the tube instead of putting it on my brush in order to brush my teeth. And we had some laughs. It broke the ice. And from there, and this is a testament to the people that were part of the retreat, it was smooth. It was easy. Everything felt right. And I think it was the perfect blend of 12 human beings being together. I couldn't imagine it happening any other way. It was just perfect. From there, I won't go through every single detail, but they did a partner exercise to get to know one of the other attendees. We walked over to the beach, which was right across the street. So we had a beachfront Airbnb in Brigantine, and we did our first workout. We had a group workout. Everyone had a sandbag. They had to use the sand on the beach to fill up their sandbag. And we got after it. There were no questions asked. There were no excuses made. Everybody did the best that they could to push through, to do hard things, and to embrace the theme of the weekend, which was the other side. The other side. And to expand on that, the theme was what we want exists on the other side of hard. So we pushed hard on the beach. They got in the water. They got cold. They got sandy. They worked as a unit. They encouraged each other. And it was so cool to stand on the beach, to give instruction, to give encouragement, to watch them all, just work hard. We then came back to the house. Of course, everybody showered, changed, got comfortable again. We did a breakout session where I would introduce a topic. They would have some time to journal and reflect solo. And then we would come back together as a bigger group, discuss, share, be open, vulnerable. And then they'd break off again into smaller groups and discuss further. So we did that throughout the weekend, but we had dinner that first night. We ordered some food, had a great meal, great conversation. And then we played Fish Bowl, which is a game. If you're familiar with it, you're familiar with it. If you're not, you're not. But it's along the lines of charades. And we just had laughs and fun. I don't think I got to bed that night until 11 p.m., which is late for me. Woke up the next morning around 4 a.m., which is on par for me. We had some groups go out for runs. We came back. We did some breath work. We did a cold plunge in the ocean. Both of those were led by Brendan Cook, who is just a one-of-a-kind human being. And I could talk about Cook for forever. He was also a guest on the podcast, and his episode is worth listening to if you get a chance. But we did those two things to start off the day. We made breakfast as a unit, as a group. We laughed, we talked, we ate. From there, the rest of the day involved more breakout sessions and another group workout on the beach. I took some inspiration from the Navy SEALs. And if you look back at any of the retreat pictures that are posted on social media, you'll see that we've got the sandbags and the participants in the water, linking arms, doing flutter kicks as the waves are washing over them, push-ups with waves crashing in their face. It was just fun. And again, to watch them just embrace the weekend, to do hard things together, to support one another, it was very special for me. We get back to the house, we do another breakout session, we order dinner, we eat, we play another game. We played Mafia. If you're familiar with it, you're familiar with it. If you're not, I'm not going to explain it on this podcast, but it was a lot of fun. And I don't think on that second night I got to bed until midnight. I spent a little bit of time journaling and reflecting because I just wanted to capture some of the things that I was feeling, some of the things that I was thinking about. And on that last day, we got up, the power went out. So Saturday, October 11th, we had good weather, I would say. It was, fall. It wasn't hot, it wasn't cold. Overcast, not too much rain, a little bit of wind. And then Sunday, October 12th, was the beginning of a nor'easter that was hitting the coastline. And so the waves were rough. We did not go in the water that day. The wind was crazy. And we lost power in the morning a few times on and off, which ultimately it came back on and we were all good. But if it didn't, I had no doubt that this group would have just rolled with the punches, that this group would have just been fine. And we had yoga. We had someone come in to lead a yoga class. Actually, think yoga might have been harder than some of the workouts for some of the participants, which was fun to watch. From there, we, ate breakfast as a team, and we had our last breakout session. And this is where I'll share something that really I'm still processing, but is very impactful and important to me. I was standing at the kitchen counter washing dishes. And now this third floor of the Airbnb was where the living space in the kitchen existed. It was big, it was open, there are views of the ocean. It was beautiful. So I'm standing at the kitchen island washing dishes, and I'm watching these 11 other human beings who, for the most part, didn't know each other too well before the weekend started. I'm watching them laugh. I'm watching them cry. I'm watching them share deep, meaningful, impactful things. I'm watching them support and encourage and empower one another. And I just got so emotional. I couldn't stop smiling. I felt this buzz almost as if I was vibrating. I just felt so there, so full of gratitude, so alive. I just felt like I was supposed to be there. And that is such an amazing feeling. And it almost felt like what I imagine a parent would feel washing dishes after a meal, watching their children have a meaningful discussion, a meaningful moment, a meaningful experience. It just was so special because they didn't need me in that moment. 48 hours ago, most of these people didn't know one another. And here we are. And it, I'm at a loss for words. It felt like they were friends for a lifetime. And it hit me that just like a parent would build up a child, I just feel so called to help build others up. I feel so called to help encourage and inspire, empower, challenge people. And I don't slow down often. I don't pause enough to feel certain things. I felt proud of where I had come from, that young adult in 2019 who chose to put the wheels in motion, to take a risk, to leave a job, to start something and build before he knew what it was. The one who kept going, the one who has faced disappointment and setback, adversities, the one who has questioned things, the one who thought it would be easier to stop, the one who has felt alone. I'm proud of that person for getting to this place. And I'll get to some other things in a minute, but it was bittersweet to wrap up the retreat. On one hand, it was so sweet because we got what we needed. These people got what they came for. And we are leaving that place with new connections, deep relationships, incredible memories, new insights, et cetera, et cetera. I was excited to come back home to Philadelphia to see Michaela and Theo and to get back into a routine because I love the life that we have. And so for those reasons, it was sweet, but it was bitter because even though it was 48 hours, it had both felt so long and so short. I just wanted more time with these people. I didn't want it to end. And that to me was a sign that we did it right. We didn't cut corners. We were intentional. We invested into this experience. From a business standpoint, if anyone is interested in the entrepreneurial side of things, we lost money on this. I didn't do this to make money. This retreat was not about financial gain. This retreat was about experience and impact. And those things were accomplished to the highest degree. Um, and so now that things are wrapped up, I am excited to plan the next one, to roll this momentum into coaching, into the 2026 Project Endure event, into other things that are in the works, but I can't mention yet. I'm excited to carry this momentum forward. And that brings me to a couple things that I want to share, which is a series of takeaways, insights from the conversations that were had this weekend. You know, I think one of the hard things about doing the work by yourself or with yourself is that you aren't challenged the same way as to when you're with other people who have an outside perspective, who see you in a different way, who are willing to push you in a bit of a different manner than you might normally push yourself. And to watch that unfold, to watch other people bounce ideas, challenge thoughts, encourage others in real time in that setting made me realize how I need to continue to put myself in rooms where other people are further ahead, to put myself in spaces where someone else is going to challenge me and not accept an excuse or a subpar effort. I need to continue to seek that out for me. As much as I want to give that to other people, I need to continue pursuing those things for me. So that was one takeaway, one realization. Uh, there's so many other things that were discussed, but there's a difference between opinions and wisdom. Was something that came out of it for me. There is a difference between comparisons and examples. That was something that came out of it for me. There is such a need to recognize that ready is a decision, not a feeling, and that imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. That came out of it for me. We need to be the person that we say we are. That came out of it for me. And as we left that weekend, one of the things that I shared with the group is that all of us felt inspired. All of us felt that spark. All of us felt prepared to run through a brick wall. And that feeling doesn't last forever. That feeling fades. All feelings fade. And it's a great reminder that we are not always going to feel motivated, inspired, fired up to go pursue the thing that we're choosing to pursue. We need to continue moving toward what we want, whether or not the feeling matches our initial desire. One of the quotes that is burned into my mind is from James Watkins, who said, "A river cuts through rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence." We need to be able to put one foot in front of the other and trust that each step will reveal the next, even when we are sad, even when we are confused, even when we are tired, even when we are questioning if it's worth it. We have to give ourselves time and space to separate out what we're feeling from what we want. That's something that came out of this for me, something I was reminded of, something that was reaffirmed. Attention is the beginning of devotion. What we give our attention to is what we are devoting ourselves to. We have to be protective of our time and our attention. We have to be selective with our yeses and selective with our nos. There are so many things that came out of this weekend for me, but the overwhelming thing is that we become like the people we surround ourselves with. I've known that. You know that. We all know that. But to be around such awesome people in that setting, in something that I created, was what I needed, and I didn't even know it. I'm sure there are other things that I would love to share, love to remember, look back and wish that I said here. But the truth is, it doesn't matter because I got what I needed. These people got what they needed. The retreat was special. And I am so looking forward to the next one, even though it has not been planned. There is no date. But I would encourage anyone listening to this, if you connected with something that I said, if anything that I shared even made you a bit uncomfortable, I would encourage you to think more on that, reflect on that. One of the things that I shared with the group is that it's easy to end a sentence with, I don't know. You can't do that. It's okay to feel like you don't know something or I'm not sure in this moment, but you can't end the ultimate sentence with, I don't know. Growth happens beneath the I don't knows. You have to be willing and able to dig. You have to find other people, a coach, a group, at a retreat, at an experience, wherever, to push you past the I don't knows in your life. If you want to find growth, you need to do that. I also want to share that I didn't plan it this way, but the topic of faith came up for every single person through this entire experience. It was organic, it was natural. I was so taken back that each person who came was looking for the same thing in some way, shape, or form. And that was a deeper relationship with God, a further development of their faith. That wasn't a prerequisite. That's not the explicit intent of this retreat. That's not advertised or broadcast. That is just what happened. And as a believer, as someone of faith, I can't even begin to describe how cool it was for me for those conversations to happen, for everyone to recognize that they shared that common thread, and then for that to be weaved in and out of the conversation for the entire weekend. It meant a lot to me. There's still more to process there. But I'll leave it at that. And I'll also mention, because again, this is just my consciousness speaking as I remember things and process things. And if you're still listening to this and some of the rambling that I've been through, I appreciate you. Thank you. I want to thank James Boria, who captured in photo and video this entire retreat weekend. And also just the fact that him, my right hand man, Mike Zacco, and Brendan Cook, who helped lead some of the breathwork and cold plunge, that those three people, even though they were there to help do a job and craft and create an experience, whether that be on the front end or the back end, that they were able to integrate into the group, share, receive, listen, talk. It was just special to me. And I know I've used that word a lot, but I'm at a loss for words, and special is how this all felt. So I want to thank everyone who came to the retreat, who invested time, resources, attention into that experience. I want to also acknowledge that these participants signed up for something and committed to something that they did not know the details of. They didn't know what this was. You know, I didn't know what this was until we got much closer to the actual thing. So kudos to you for taking a risk, taking a chance, making a commitment, being courageous, putting yourself out there, being bold, being open, being vulnerable, being present, and just being you. Because time will erode the facade of all of us. The masks that we wear will fall. And so to drop those walls and to be who you are for this weekend fully is encouraging, inspiring, and special. So thank you. I feel like I have a deep connection with each and every one of you, and I would love to nurture that. And nurturing takes time and effort. And I shared that with this group. These connections, this experience, it requires nurturing to continue to grow these things that we got from this weekend. And I just want to thank everyone who listened. If you're hearing my voice, I appreciate you. I hope that you would consider inquiring about the next retreat. I hope that you would consider coming to Philadelphia for the 2026 annual event that will take place in the spring. The date is TBD, but I will have details soon. I want to thank everyone who listens to other episodes, who follows us on social media, who in any way, shape, or form has supported me and or Project Endure and or others in this community. I hope that you will leave this episode with even just a little bit of a spark to go do something that you've been waiting to do, that you are uncomfortable in thinking about doing, that you are unsure about. Go take action, because action precedes inspiration. And if there's any way that I can help, if there's any way that I can support, whether it's through coaching, whether it's just as another human being or something else altogether, please let me know. And with that being said, I will end here, and I hope that you have a great rest of your week. I'll talk to you soon. If you enjoyed this episode of the Project Endure podcast, go ahead and subscribe, leave a review on your platform of choice, and share this episode with a friend. It helps us get more conversations like this out to more people like you. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next time. And one more thing. If you're looking for a community of people all striving to be better together, check out the Project Endure Hard Things Club. The link is in the description below. We'd love to have you. Two other things real quick that I forgot to mention during the initial recording. One is the weather was perfect. It didn't sound great how I described it earlier. Gray skies, overcast, a lot of wind, some rain. There was a storm coming in, but it was perfect for what we needed. I picked Brigantine because it's desolate in the fall. It's right there at the beach, not too far from me, but I couldn't have planned it better because the storm, the quiet before the storm was just so perfect for what we needed. And I believe within hours after we all left, and a few people had flights delayed or canceled or had to rebook, but a few hours after we left, I think it flooded. Not terrible. I think it's all good, but it was just perfect. The timing couldn't have been better. And second, a big thank you to my wife, Michaela, for helping me pack bags beforehand, for getting things ready with me in preparation the week of, for just supporting me, for being patient, for allowing me to, be gone for a weekend, take care of Theo, she just helps me so much in more ways than she will ever know, than you will ever know, Michaela, if you're listening to this. And I couldn't do things like this without you for so many reasons. And I love you, and I will get you at the next retreat as a participant, because I think that would be fun. And I am done now, and I will talk to you guys later.